I'm here.
Okay, Paul McKelk, I'm here.
Lynn Salee, clerk, I'm here.
Steve Beard, I'm here.
Bob Wheeler, I'm here.
And we have our guest Rod, excuse me, and Lewis, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
All right, so basically this meeting oh boy.
Yep, you're
Here's
breaking
the
up.
minutes
just
from
lost
the last
everything.
one. This
That's all
meeting
right,
tonight's
Michael.
a continuation. You want to pass the minutes, Mike? Take a look at those first.
Yeah, those are fine. Shall we just pass them then?
I see.
I'll make a motion.
I make a
Seconded. Okay.
A
you make the
second.
motion, Bobby, or,
Yeah, Bob made the motion and I second it.
okay,
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right.
All right, so basically we'll do a continuation of this material import permit and excavation. At the last meeting, I said I would check on the 2-to-1 slope, and there was no problem with that. As long as erosion control was addressed and maintained, and by the look of the plan and everything, that has been addressed, and I don't see any problem with it. Does anybody else?
So we 2-to-1's okay?
Yeah,
Okay. Well, if it meets requirements, and I'm okay with it. I know most of the stuff we do, we require 3-to-1, but
Right.
well,
that
you
po-
can, when you're filling like this, you could build a retaining wall and actually have 1-to-1.
true.
There's no bylaw that says, 2-to-1 is no good.
Okay.
So from what I see here, everything has been addressed. I see no issue on granting the permit to fill the land in, but it's being done on the risk that filling it in is okay, but as far as this is being a buildable lot and the zoning that goes along with it, that has nothing to do with us. The building inspector and the planning board and possibly even the ZBA may have to be addressed with what is going to go on this lot.
Okay. What about the like kind soils requirement?
Well,
Uh,
they're
They're
not doing anything with like kind soil.
They're not importing soil?
They're importing soil, but it's not like kind soil. Like kind soil is a whole different thing. They're bringing in good soil. They're going to compact it in 18-inch lifts, and
What they're doing with the soil's okay, but the soil come in has to be of equal grade of what's there or better.
no,
It would be
doesn't.
better, I think.
No, it does not, Steve.
Right.
Okay, I question that because, okay,
Like
I-
kind soil, my understanding is that is when you're dealing with soils that may be tainted with noticeable or inordinate amounts of potential contaminants. If you're talking general fill, whether it's tailings, gravel, dirt, whatever, that's not like kind soil. Like kind soil is, from what I've been able to find out, is something that's tested on both ends, and that's determined by the state through official channels.
Right.
Correct me if I'm wrong, please.
You're,
Yeah,
oh, go ahead,
that's
Steve.
how I understand.
I'll have to read more on that because I believe like the farms and stuff, you cannot just put soil down that's not of lesser grade that's already there.
You just said farms.
Well, yeah, it doesn't,
Are you limiting to that, or is it?
No,
I'm
I'm-
just
I-
asking.
I'm just calling that as an example. That's,
Okay, all right, fine.
But Steve, you're talking about a whole different thing. You're
Right.
talking about like kind soils that need an LSP on both ends and all that. These people are
Correct.
bringing in clean soil. They've
Yep.
already stated it's not going to be contaminated. It's not going to have anything in it that will have to have a like-kind soil thing and a state permit.
Right. Plus, it's just one lot too. It's not a huge development.
Now, it doesn't call out what size the project is. It does actually call about amount of fill, but
A house.
I believe they stated around 1,200 yards originally.
mhm.
Yeah,
Yes.
Don't know if that's gonna get them where they want to be, but maybe.
Rod, are you aware of this is a zoning issue and possibly, whether this is a buildable lot and everything?
Yes, I've made that known to Louis, right, Louis?
Correct.
Yeah.
All right, that's all that I feel we need to make you aware of, that, what you're doing, as far as I'm concerned, is feasible, filling in the lot. You've done a pretty good job on this plan and all that. We just want you to be aware that just because we're allowing you to fill it in does not mean we're saying it's okay to build on, as far as zoning and what the planning board allows you to do. We're giving you the okay to fill in the lot.
What you, and let me just go a little beyond that, what you do with it after you fill in falls under the jurisdiction of other boards in this community. And it goes far beyond the Soil Advisory Committee or even the selectmen in terms of bringing in material. You need to be aware that moving forward with filling this, you are doing so at your own risk until you get clarification from zoning and or planning and or whatever building inspector, whatever other appropriate boards need to be addressed. And we're not advising you which ones, but that is homework you need to do to be sure that what you're investing in the preparation of this lot is going to achieve what your goal is. Are we clear on that?
Yes.
I'm clear on it.
Okay.
Louis?
do you have any questions?
Does anybody
No.
else have anything to add to that? I would make a motion that we allow the lot to be filled in then according to this plan and with the good material they were talking about.
I second it.
All those in favor?
I,
Aye.
Aye.
Aye,
I guess it passes then. Have
so
you got any?
Rod and Lewis, I'll jump in. I mean, you need to now start inquiring with, probably start with our building inspector, who is our zoning enforcement officer. And he will answer any questions he is capable. If not, he will direct you to the appropriate board for further discussion.
The
Okay,
only
what
thing,
is it?
the
What's the
only other
thing?
thing that I would add to that is, Rod, you, before this is filled in, you may want to get an inspection from the building inspector for the bottom of excavation where the flat spot is going to be, so that in case you do build something on this someday or get permission to build on it, they know that the bottom of the excavation was inspected by the building inspector. In other words, that the stumps were pulled out, the topsoil was stripped off, and so that they know the soil that you're putting on was put on firm ground to begin with.
That's correct, yes.
Excellent point.
Yep. Louis, you were hearing all this, right?
Yes, I am, huh?
That sounds good. I know Louis has just wanted to make use of the lot and he's engaged me to get this far. So, yeah, as far as I know, it's all according to plan and we'll stake it out according to plan and
Okay, can I read one more thing? I got the bylaw up. The Board of Selectmen shall be the permitting granting authority for this bylaw, which is the like-kind soils. No like-kind soil may be imported into the town except upon the grant by the Board of Selectmen. So they do have to pull a permit.
But they're not bringing in like-kind soil, Steve.
Okay, okay.
the
I guess
like-kind soil, I think, addresses hazardous soils or otherwise contaminated. I believe that's the purpose of that law. I'm not,
I think that was brought in so the, that's not, I'm on another, well, the case is no longer there, but was involved in another situation in town here where you could not bring in soil that was graded less than what was already on there. So I guess I don't fully understand the bylaw then. Because what I'm reading here,
Mary? No.
It's a quantity thing. So the quantity will trigger it.
that's correct, 20,000 square feet.
Yep.
That is correct. And after that, it
Square
triggers it.
feet or cubic feet?
Square feet. I'm reading it right here.
How does that apply to bulk materials? I'm just curious. I don't understand that.
Let's see, let me read it. For example, if fill is required to support and enable the construction or reconstruction of several buildings that's called the buildings of, okay, of combined total of 20,000 square feet of limited finish area or maximum of 20,000 cubic feet of fill. Sorry, so it is cubic feet for fill. So anything over 20,000 cubic feet of fill requires a permit.
well, we're under that.
Okay. Oh, if you're under 20,000 cubic feet, then okay.
Yeah, we're.
And I
way under.
I thought a single lot was not included in that, like a house lot or that. It was,
You're
More
right,
t-
Bobby.
yeah, I think it was more towards bigger developments, but could be wrong.
Okay, but if they're under 20,000, I think the question is mute then, so I'm okay with it.
But with Michael bringing up the point of, having the building inspector and zoning inspector look at it, the stumps, if you're filling over them or if you're gonna, whatever your process is, you could discuss it with him and get the what should be, probably be your best bet. And that's Richard Hanks. But with us, you're all right.
Aren't there, if we're talking cubic feet, cubic yard is 27 cubic feet, correct?
Yes,
Okay, and if we're talking 1,200
Yeah,
yards of material times 27, I get 32,000 and change. Which is over the 20,000 foot number that was just thrown out.
I'm in the yards and footage mix up.
Okay, I just want to clarify things.
It's 20,000 cubic feet of, it's cubic, it's not it's cubic
Cubic.
feet, not yards.
Yep, cubic feet. A
Ah,
maximum of 20,000 cubic feet of fill may be imported to the site without a permit. That's what it says here. I got the bylaw open in front of me on another screen.
That translates to 740 yards.
and we're okaying it for the amount you are asking right now as the Earthworks Board. Correct? For the selectmen?
No, he's over the limit.
Well, I disagree with what you're saying, Steve.
I do
Okay.
too.
I don't know.
The way that read, it was on hazardous materials and other things other than just clean fill.
Right.
Or clean
Yes.
material on site.
Right.
Any
Mhm.
type of
We're
clean
not
material, it's a
even dealing with
non-issue.
like-kind soils, so it doesn't apply.
Okay.
Right. And it's a single lot.
Correct.
That's correct.
I don't, okay. All right, I'm
I'm still, I'm okay with
okay.
it.
Yeah, I'm not.
What are we waiting on?
I think we're pretty much,
Can you see this on the screen?
Yes.
And yeah.
This is section 3 of the bylaw, which is up on
Yep.
our website right now. Work for which a permit is required. Basically anything, clean,
Yes.
dirty, it doesn't matter. It's not clean or dirty, it's quantity.
Correct.
And then we come down to exemption being for like a septic system, which is the Board of Health piece.
Yep.
And then here, in excess of 100 cubic yards.
So I think a
Anything
permit's
in excess
required.
of 100 cubic yards triggers the need to have an earthworks permit. Pay for, which is $500 to the selectman's office, and fill out the application, which is up on the selectmen's and earthwork advisory committee websites. If I
Mhm.
can help with that.
Didn't we agree quite a while ago that we bumped that 100-yard thing up to like 2,000?
That is the bylaw that's up on the town's website right now. There may
Right.
have been talk at one time with Joe Atchu of trying to rewrite the earthworks and combine like kind together. There's 2 separate bylaws right now and they never were merged.
right.
So
I
that's
know
what's
we
on the
bumped,
books.
That was
We-
taken off the town agenda.
Those were never
after we
merged.
approved it.
right.
Right.
We bumped it up
Recommended.
though, Michael, to over 500 or 1,000, I think.
We
That
went
is
to
the bylaw.
2,500.
That's the bylaw right now that's been approved by the Attorney General, is what Eloise has on the website.
So
Didn't mean to
Mary, are you
interject, I just wanted
saying,
to help.
Can I ask a
But
question?
Steve's question is like kind soil, which is another issue.
right,
Okay, that's what I was.
You got to read the like kind soils definition. And the definition in that is things that are polluted with metals and
Right.
chemicals and human waste, animal waste, et cetera, et cetera.
I
Oils,
agree 100% with you, Lynn.
Yep, I agree.
Now, prior to the commencement of any fill deliveries or any individual phase of deliveries, if there are to be several, the applicant must provide the board full documentation of like-kind soils to be imported to the receiving site. I'm reading this off the webpage or off the bylaw.
Yeah. I don't know if that was updated. I know you might have to talk with the zoning and building inspector about your truck route and your hauling route to get to the lot. And we're coming to Berlin, that might be something to discuss with the building inspector.
Mr. Chairman, I'm seeing where the 20,000 number is coming from, and that's the like kind soil bylaw. But earlier in the bylaws is just the earth importation separate. So they're still separate. So we're not dealing with this. This is like kind soils. And this is, I presume, clean soil. So we'd be up earlier in the bylaw. Okay?
Correct.
So Mary, are you saying they need to get the $500 permit?
Yes.
Yes, they do. It's a quantity thing. It has nothing to do with the cleanliness. Like kind
Right.
soils is cleanliness, earth importation is quantity. And so back up here to the quantity, anything in excess of 100 cubic yards, soil, loam, sand, gravel, stone, or any earth material from or to any land not in public use without first obtaining an earth permit as approved,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. And new permit right here, $500.
That's not this permit that Lewis applied for?
I believe it is, Rod.
Yes.
Okay,
It is, so you're making a recommendation to the selectmen whether or not this permit is in fact triggered by the bylaw
I see.
upon your review, and you're saying, yes, it is. And so then it can come before the selectmen for the selectmen to take action and actually sign and release the permit.
I see.
Correct.
Right.
What does that section 3 say about, permit be right there, Mary? Oh, down right there. Permit shall be for 1 or 2. My computer, I can't read.
Oh,
that.
yeah, anything more, anything for business, industrial, research, or commercial building or facility of any kind, including apartment buildings in excess of 2 units and or developments of more than 1 apartment building on any single parcel or lot of land. This is a commercial development, that's being met.
Okay.
I'm gonna kind of jump in here from a whole different perspective. If I was Mr. Santos, my brain would be cramping. And my personal recommendation, not as a member of this board, I'd want to be real clear what the town will allow with that parcel before proceeding with anything major. I don't want to see anybody throw money away needlessly. I don't think we're dealing with like-kind soil, but we are dealing with soil, some importation and filling of this lot. And with a $500 permit fee, I'd want to know if I can actually build on something that might end up being only 5,000 square feet of flat surface. That's just my 2 cents.
Well, Rod, that would be something for you and Mr. Santos to discuss amongst yourselves, right?
Yes, yeah.
Do you have a copy of those bylaws, Rod?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I do, and I found them on your website. So the $500, I knew that was all there, so I thought it was an additional 500, but it's not. You're talking about the 500 he applied for.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm good. Well, I understand that.
And our vote is a recommendation in favor.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yep.
So
Louis,
Yes.
so you hear all the recommendations, right?
Yes. Yes. I did hear it. I really appreciate, for the heads up. But I think we got to start somewhere, and somewhere to start is the excavating.
well,
Well, that's about the max we can get without a retaining wall and without that's the safest. I mean, that's the maximum flat area you're gonna get.
Right.
So, and we'll have to do all that erosion control first, and then we'll put in then you bring in the fill. So, just like the plan said, so. All right,
and Chairman,
Yep.
you do recommend they talk to the building inspector or have them in zoning just to get out and look at it for the bottom for their own safety, right? For their own,
Yeah, when they get it ready to fill in, they may want to, have the bottom looked at just so that that it's been inspected in case you do build on it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
probably the footings will be dug back down to virgin ground anyways, unless you have the compaction rates done and, you have that to back you up.
okay, so we're done.
Thank you, Mary, for getting the Zoom going.
Yeah, sorry for the delay. Thanks, Mary.
Yeah, thanks, Mary, and thanks for tipping us off on the 100-foot thing there, on the 100-yard thing. And this could also trigger, we need to talk about this in another meeting as far as this 100-yard triggering a permit, 100 yards, it triggers a permit. So maybe at one of these meetings, we need to discuss this.
The
Okay.
deadline for getting a warrant article on for the annual town meeting passed last Monday. But the board always has control of the warrant. With short notice, I don't know how much they'd want to do something like that, but they're already building a warrant. I helped Margaret putting it together. It doesn't mean it can't be done for the spring, but it would be an awfully tight thing. So maybe it'd be something you'd try to queue up for a fall town meeting.
All right.
Right.
And on the idea of feedback, if Rod and Lewis don't seek out that feedback from those key department heads and make sure that what they're planning there, the board is probably not going to proceed without getting feedback from all those departments anyhow.
Right, right.
And/or the board can still add conditions if they hear from something, let's say police or highway, that they have street sweeping concerns with whatever's coming in and out, above and beyond whatever conditions you all set. Other conditions can still be set by the board.
And that's the select board, correct, Mary?
Yes.
So before Louis starts doing any fill, we should have the inspector see the site. And before he starts trucking anything, also even though it's on this permit, he should contact the select board for this further. Do you not forward this permit to the select board, or? So they'll have it, they'll see the route that's on the permit,
But
right?
no work can occur until you have a signed permit.
Right, right.
Okay.
So your approval forwards to the select board, and from them comes the permit.
Correct.
Got it.
Yeah. We're just like an advisory board.
Okay. All right, makes sense. Luis, you hear that?
Yes, yeah. Huh? And this usually takes what, a few weeks?
The select board meets every Monday, pretty much.
Mhm.
I'd have to look at the bylaw to see what the notice requirement is. I think that if I'm looking correctly through the Zoom and past your Zoom, an applicant would still have to run a hearing notice because the Board of Selectmen would hold a public hearing. And there must be 21 days advance notice published in the newspaper at least 21 days before the date that the selectmen actually have the hearing. And the select board's office would draft that notice for you.
Okay.
So if the EAC advisory committee tonight says they're good and their recommendation is, yes, you do need a permit, then the select board's office, the town administrator would start drafting up a notice for you to run in the newspaper, and they would give you everything you need to know to get that notice in the newspaper. It cannot occur, no public hearing by the select board can occur until 21 days after the publication in the newspaper.
Understood.
I move we adjourn.
I'll second it.
All righty, meeting's adjourned.